Quickly, we'll just go through the house rules and etiquette reminders for today's session. So first, of course, please keep in mind all the FB and Zoom etiquettes to help ensure that the masterclass will run smoothly. So for Zoom participants, please make sure that your audio is on mute and your video is turned off once you enter the meeting room. You may use the Zoom chat box to ask questions to the speakers. Your questions will then be answered shortly. You may also use the raise your hand function. Once acknowledged by yours truly, the moderator, you may unmute yourself, turn your camera on, provide a quick intro, then ask your question. So a participant is entitled to asking one relevant question to foster a collaborative atmosphere. So you are expected also for the Zoom participants to stay inside the Zoom room until at least after the group photo op. So for FB Live participants, you may write your questions on the comment section. Select PACMRI members will monitor the space to ensure that relevant questions will be asked by the moderator, yours truly, during the open forum. So, of course, for everyone, be very mindful, be very respectful. So before we proceed to the masterclass session, I would like to give the Zoom floor to our president, Professor Maria Rosell, or as we fondly call her, Professor Chen San Pascual, to deliver the opening remarks.
Thank you, Allison. Good afternoon, magandang hapon sa ating lahat. Welcome to the second session of this year's PACMRI Masterclass Series. PACMRI, or the Philippine Association for Communication and Media Research Incorporated, is a University of the Philippines-based non-stock organization that aims to advance knowledge in communication and media phenomena involving the Filipinos and the Philippines. Founded in 2019 by the UP Department of Communication Research, PACMRI envisions a knowledge-based society that values, uses, and innovates communication and media research. PACMRI endeavors to promote the systematic study of developments, changes, and challenges in Philippine communication and media to contribute to enhancing the competencies of local communication and media researchers in conducting and, of course, disseminating scholarly works, and to facilitate the engagement of communication and media research practitioners and institutions in Philippine society. The PACMRI Masterclass Series, one of our flagship projects, aims to expound on the various philosophical, contextual, and practical concerns that inform and elevate the studies that we conduct. We at PACMRI hope that the series results in a vibrant and rigorous communication and media research culture in our country. This afternoon, we are fortunate to have with us highly respected and often cited scholars of popular culture and global and local fandom. I know that you yourselves are fans of our resource speakers, as evidenced by the number of shares of our social media posting about this afternoon's masterclass session, and I am certain that you are all excited to learn from them beyond the asynchronous engagements that you have so far done with their works. So thank you for joining us. Let us all have an insightful Friday the 13th afternoon. Mabuhay ang pananaliksik at mga mananaliksik ng komunikasyon at media. Maraming salamat. Magandang hapon.
Thank you so much, Professor San Pascual. And oh, now that I think about it, it's really Friday the 13th. So I hope this will be lucky for us, even though, all the superstitions surrounding it, like Taylor Swift, So, okay. So thank you very much again, Professor San Pascual. And with that, I'm very sure that you all are very excited to listen to our guest speakers. So very quickly, let me introduce our first speaker. So Dr. Cherish Eileen Aguilar Brillon is an associate professor at the UP College of Mass Communication, Broadcast Communication Department. She's part of the advisory committee of DZUP 1602, the official radio station of the UP community, and has just finished her stint as the director of the UP System Padayon Public Service Office. Before going into the academy full-time, she had previous experiences in film festival organizing, production management, editing for independent film productions, audio-video production consultancy, and public relations work. Her research interests are political economy of media, gender, fandom, celebrity, and superhero studies. She taught the, if I may say, much talked about celebrity studies, Taylor Swift in Focus elective last academic year. So without further ado, everyone, Dr. Iris Berliot.
Hello, magandang hapon po sa lahat. Yan, ayusin ko lang ang aking slide, but I hope my audio is clear. Okay. Yeah, sige. All right. So, thank you for spending your afternoon with us. And this is a very spacious day. It's Friday the 13th, at least for us Swifties. So, let me start by saying that I think for better or for worse, I will always be the faculty. When people would introduce me, they would always introduce me as the faculty who teaches or who taught the Taylor Swift course, elective in Diliman, no matter how varied my interests are. So let me start today, this presentation today, by saying that I am really grateful to the Philippine Association for Communication and Media Research Incorporated, to their officers and members, of course to Noel and to Allison, no, and to Kyle, who's been also coordinating with me about this. No, I am excited to hopefully share this space with none other than the ACA fan himself, Dr. Henry Jenkins. And I appreciate this chance to have a conversation with you about popular culture and fandom. So for today, I decided to share my learnings and reflections, specifically from my experiences teaching the Celebrity Studies Taylor Swift in Focus elective last semester. Essentially, what I'm going to do is problematize what it means to be an ACA fan in the Philippines. Because I think being an ACA fan is not as easy as we think it is. Okay, so I feel that my experience teaching this subject also mirrors a lot of my experiences as a researcher, no, as an ACA fan who's also doing research. So as a brief definition, again, ACA fan is a term attributed to Dr. Henry Jenkins, no, who used it to describe basically fans who decided to pursue that somewhat personal aspect of our lives. So I am a fan and integrated that into who we are as an academic. Okay, so first, let me tell you who I am as a fan. Ngayon ko lang po i-reveal to. Marami dito nakatagong sikreto ko. I am someone who grew up fascinated by and immersed in both local and transnational popular culture. I was raised by the stories I read on comics, I watched on television, and the songs that I heard on the radio. So these are some of the things which I actively, so ito po yung talagang meron akong ambag, okay, bilang fan. So I'm sorry, I'm also dating myself by revealing this. This is the show where, and that's the X-Files now, this is the show where my being a fan went from a purely personal activity to a collective one. This is where I started getting in touch with other fans and communicating with them and participating in them. I'm also a very I'm a huge superhero, science fiction, and fantasy fan, whether local or transnational. So you see here, I have Star Wars, I have comic books. I am super fan of Mulawin. And these were the stories that me and my siblings grew up with, no? And it was the reason that we bonded, no? Because we like watching superheroes, fantasy, and science fiction. Then you'll also notice that I do have a bit of fandom activity involving queer centered stories, which is a bit recent. No, queer centered stories were very, very few when I was young. Um, so there's well, Thai GL or the Thai girls love genres. Then I am a huge fan of Warrior Nun, a show that not a lot of people have heard about. Local wise, I am a fan of Darlentina, and just recently, I wrote a paper about it, and hopefully that also gets published soon. And celebrity wise, I am a fan of course, not well, international, Angelina Jolie, and local, Angel Locsin. Um, I have been a Swiftie for quite a while, but that side of me really just came out publicly when I was in UP. So it was in UP where I outed myself as a Swiftie. Um, and as a fan, I watch the shows, listen to music. Um, I collected merch. I read fanfics or fan fictions. I wrote essays defending my favorite shows, my favorite celebrities or singers, like my life depended on it. I participated in efforts to keep my favorite shows on the air. I donated to fundraising by fans. And I also attend comic book conventions regularly. So we have local comic conventions in the Philippines. And I also have a fan account that I use for my fangirling activities. So as you can see, I was really a fan first before I became an academic. Now let's go to the boring part. So who am I as an academic? These are my areas of interest as an academic. So my field of study is really media. Um, but I also indicated here Philippine studies because this is an important lens for me. Um, Even though it's already a given that my primary focus as a Filipino academic is the local media, I think mentioning this is very important because my way of seeing and understanding is shaped by my historical and local conditions. And sandwich in between um, these fields are my theoretical and conceptual anchors, which are political economy, popular culture, gender, and fandom. So these are really the fields of interest where I am in. So I just realized I spent a great deal of my allotted time talking to you about my background or giving you my background, but I feel this story is important because being an ACA fan, with criticisms on how it can lead to methodological and interpretation bias, and whether it contributes something substantial to real life problems, is definitely not it's not an easy position to assume. No? And I'll tell you later why. So at what point did my being a fan and being an academic intersected for me? Well, there were two pivotal points. The first one, and I always tell this story as a joke, but it's really true. I decided to write my graduate thesis on Darna, but centered on the 2007 version, which starred Angel Locsin. And for me, at the time, I was using that as an excuse to have an opportunity to interview Angel Locsin, which is like, I'm a huge fan of hers. Um, and so I saw that as hitting two birds with one stone, meaning I'm a fan of both the actress and the character. No? And then it was also around that time when I read Dr. Jenkins' Textual Poachers. So he has a book called Textual Poachers. And I thought that my idea, while initially motivated by my fanish desires, might actually work because at that time, this was in around 2000, 2007, 2006, people have completely forgotten about Darna because it has been 13 years no, since she was last seen in media. And it was very interesting for me because it was Angel Locsin at the time who who brought her back to life. So my interest in Darna has carried me until my dissertation. So I always also joke about how my longest relationship is with Darna because it encompassed my MA until my PhD, and I started to become a fan when I was really young, no. So I first watched Darna, starring Vilma Santos, in RPN 9, no. So RPN 9 usually shows this old movies before. So, and it's also because of this that I was able to offer a graduate course on media cultures and superheroes. The other pivotal moment, which led me to offer the celebrity studies course or the celebrity studies class, came to me as a result of what I have observed in the last elections, um, last 2022. I have already mentioned this in several interviews, but that election has given the country a glimpse of something different. And a part of that was the presence of a lot of local celebrities who volunteered, and how the campaigns actually look like, the campaign rallies, no, they actually look like a gathering of fans. So if you're fond of attending fan events and activities, that's what it really feels like. And also, my Swiftie heart was very happy because I came across a local Swiftie fandom who have chapters all over the country, and they were one of the very active supporters of that campaign. No? And it was the Lenny Kiko campaign. If you're curious. So this observation stayed with me because I participated in the campaign in an individual capacity. But I have met people who were there because they were fans of the celebrities. And what made it interesting for me was how the fandom of a transnational singer was able to use the celebrity as a capital and then transform that into a political act. No? So they use Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's not a Filipino, but they use that kind of organizing of the fan, no, to help during the elections. And at that time, it intersected with my current research interest, which was about fandom and activism in the local context. So now I've talked about my experience as an ACA fan on a personal level. But how is it being an ACA fan in a third world country? And why it is important for me to define being an ACA fan vis-a-vis the terms, no? Especially these two terms, third world and third space. I know that most scholars now still, prefers using the term global north and global south when talking about international relations. But unfortunately, this is something that in the discussion of popular culture doesn't sit well with me, because I feel it tends to gloss over and erases other popular cultures like us, no, and that we tend to disappear under the Hallyu wave or Japanese anime or Thai BL and GL, and of course Bollywood, no, which is also a very very big industry, no, and conversations around it is also very prominent. So for me, third world still seems appropriate because this describes the condition of a country who has been brutally colonized by both Spain and the US, which means their influence pervades in all aspects of our lives, for better or worse. This context is important because the academic landscape where I operate as an ACA fan is shaped by the conditions and expectations of being in a third world country. But the third world also signifies a third space for me. And the idea of this third space is also something that I had conversations with, no, with some of the people who are here. Um, and the third space is a condition of being that Homi Bhabha um, associates with countries who were colonized. So what is this third space? So it's a liminal space. It talks about the interstices and the gaps, no, which gives rise to something new, to something different and unrecognizable, but it is an area of negotiation of meaning and representation. And later, I'll give examples no, of why I see myself as existing in this space. No? So being an ACA fan in a third world country means existing in the interspaces, in these intervening spaces, because due to our socio-political conditions, this is the only space that we, people studying popular culture and fandom, are allowed to be in. And this became more obvious when, last February 2024, news about UP Diliman offering a subject on Taylor Swift, though it is really a celebrity studies subject, broke out online and became viral. This is not something new. So those who are familiar, there have been many universities in the West who offers subject on Taylor Swift, no. And this has been met with largely positive response and just treated as a kind of a harmless thing, no, for lack of a better word. But this was, but but here in the Philippines, it was a different case. So there was a debate surrounding this subject, and when people would interview me or would ask me questions, I got the sense why I had to. I got the sense that I need to defend the course now and why we offered it. Even though there's also a lot of people who understood why the subject was um, important. So when the classes started, we used these online conversations as a learning tool. So let me really put it out there. Being an ACA fan in a third world space, in a third world country, in a third world space is very hard. Okay. So these are the online conversations that my students, I asked them to do a social media sensing activity where they looked at the various comments about the subject and they reflected on them. Um, if you notice, no, these are mostly um, well, the comments mostly involves I'm wasting the time of the students, taxpayers, money. There are more relevant subjects that needs to be taught to the students. No, people could not believe it. They thought it was a joke, and this is weird because someone told, someone even posted if I'm being paid by Taylor Swift, and I'm like, if Taylor Swift is paying me, I am not in UP. Do you know how much he pays her staff? Yeah, so it's funny. It's really funny, but like these are some of the things, and these are some of the mild ones. I am telling you, these are mild because there were a number of posts who wanted me fired from work, because they think I'm just wasting time and my the and money, no. And then there were also a number of below the belt responses about my gender. So can you just imagine, as an ACA fan, you just want to offer a class to talk about the role and importance of celebrities. And in particular, not just trying to focus on Taylor Swift because she embodies a kind of a celebrity culture prominent in contemporary times. But like the whole country had a lot to say about it. So I reflected on this. So me and my students had this conversation about this um, discourse around the subject, no. Um, and and I realized that these are some of the reasons why, as an ACA fan, we only get to exist in the interspace, no, in these very small spaces. But for me, that's also okay. So let's start with this one. Um, the education crisis is real. That's my first realization. I know we always say that all the time, but I think it's different when you are confronted with it on a very real level. A lot of our talk about the education crisis has more to do with statistics and numbers and everything else. No, but when you're confronted with it, as in the case of the class, um, you realize no that there's a lot that we need to do. For example, and why did I say this? Most of the anger directed towards this subject was due to a misunderstanding between the terms course and degree. I know it sounds simple, but people thought we were actually offering a 4-year degree program about Taylor Swift. So I had to start using the word subject to prevent confusion. Another is a fundamental misunderstanding of what the subject is about, even though I have explained it numerous times. People kept asking me why I chose Taylor Swift and not other musical groups. I tell them honestly because it's because I'm a Swiftie, hoping that it would be enough of an explanation. No? But obviously, it wasn't. Um, I'm sorry to have to spill this, but whenever random people would ask me about why Taylor Swift, and then I would give them my answer, chances are the response would be, um, but BTS are also those things. This is true story. And I'm like, okay, I guess good for them, and I'm happy for you as a fan. But then I also have to clarify that the class is not about singers and performers, but about celebrity culture. And like I said a while ago, how Taylor Swift embodies this kind of celebrity culture that we currently have. All of these long-winded explanations, they kind of sound absurd when you think about it. But the Philippine education crisis, coupled with the contextualization and absence of nuance that's happening in our digital spaces and conversations are symptomatic of, I think, the bigger gaps in learning and literacy that unfortunately is really going to take time to fix and to correct. This experience also reminded me that popular culture remains underappreciated and undervalued and deemed as less worthy and less valuable than other disciplines. And it's only acceptable when you are in a similar field like ours. So, like if you're maybe in the humanities, um, media, but generally, people really don't think popular culture studies are worth looking into. Um, and this is not a new thing. I'm sure everyone here who has an experience teaching popular culture knows this, you know. Um, and then I get reminded by how one of the panelists during my dissertation defense revealed to me, you know, or told me that, you know what, I've been wanting to study Itbulaga for the longest time because she wanted to find out how it's she wanted to find out its role, you know, in shaping the politics of the nation. But because she was in, I'm sorry, I'm going to name drop the department, but because she was in political science, she knew that that kind of topic would not be easily accepted in their department. No, I think what just brought me comfort was that she said that upon reading my thesis on Darna, she was considering going back to this, no, because she was a regular viewer of Eat Bulaga, and she wanted to study it for the longest time, no, but opted for a more serious and acceptable topic for as her area of expertise and specialization. Then another comment that I typically read about is has something to do with the very narrow definition and scope of what deserves to be included as part of popular culture studies because it is limited by the idea of the national. If you've read some of the comments kanina, you would know that there are comments like that. So a lot of the criticism centers on why an academic from a third world country chose to focus time and energy and effort talking about a transnational figure when, and rightly so, there are so many gaps in studying local popular culture. While I agree with this observation coming from a Philippine studies perspective, my grounding in the political economy of the media clearly shows that media products, since the time of the invention of the printing press, already have a transnational quality to them. It is in the nature of media products that they are both local and global in form and content. Further, fandom practices and scholarships have also evolved in contemporary times. No? So if you're familiar with some of these names, so from Koichi Iwabuchi's centering of the nation in his fandom studies to Dr. Jenkins' textual poaching to pop cosmopolitanism, and now I think he's busy with this project on the engagement of fandom with politics, and then to Chin and Morimoto's transculturality of fandom. So nag-iba na. Marami nang nag-iba, marami nang nagbago. We're not just locating fandom studies within issues of the national, but also of the global. Actually, I mean, today's session is supposed to be a good combination, no? Because Dr. Jenkins is a Western scholar looking into Asian pop culture, while I am an academic from a third world country teaching a subject on a Western celebrity. But I don't know who got more grief between us. I'm not sure if Dr. Jenkins were heavily criticized for talking about Korean or Hallyu and Asian pop culture, no, like I was, no, and even within my own university, no. But for me, being an ACA fan means not being limited by geographical boundaries in the production of knowledge. Then another realization of how, as an ACA fan, we exist and will continue to exist in the interstice has to do with the orientation of Philippine education in general and state universities in particular. I've already mentioned a bit about the education crisis, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our idea of a state university. Since the University of the Philippines is funded by taxpayers' money, it embraced the idea of serving and giving back to the country. A lot of state universities and colleges are also funded by taxpayers' money. But this discourse is very much prominent in UP. And again, understandably so. But we are forgetting that regardless of what the students decide to do with the degree that they were granted, it is the state's responsibility to provide their citizens with education. I know this is not a popular opinion in UP, but for me, if we treat the youth as the country's children, then is it not the responsibility of the country as parents to give them an education in unconditional terms? For education to be meaningful on both individual and collective levels, it should not be treated like a debt to be paid. This, at least for me, is what makes education free and freeing. I have to outline that because this leads me to this point. The way that we treat UP education as a debt to be paid, again, based on the comments and everything that transpired online, reveals a very interesting effect on the kind of topics and subject matter that is deemed worthy of studying and wasting time and resources on. This means that technical skills, formal and canon topics, and disciplines that are associated with notions of patents, trademarks, discoveries, and employable traits are privileged. If we go back to the comments, you will notice how they were insisting that there are more productive subjects worthy of being offered to the students and worthy of being offered in the University of the Philippines. And during my conversations and interviews, one of the consistent questions I get asked is what the students can learn from the class that can have an impact on their jobs and careers. I understand this. The Philippines is a country that has struggled a lot and continues to struggle. and education remains one of the ways by which a person can put food on the table. As a final reflection, because of all this, I did ask myself at least a few times whether there was a value to being an ACA fan in a country like the Philippines. Then I go back to what I said at the start of this presentation. I was a fan first before I became an academic. Then I remind myself how being a fan of these stories, of music, of celebrities has affected my life. And I realized that I searched for myself and the people that I know in these stories and understood the world that we live in because I was a fan. I have personal experience of the relevance and power and possibilities that being a fan provides. And that was really something that sustained me not only as an academic, but more importantly, as a human being. Once I read a story on how universities were founded not because they would provide a country's steady supply of exploited labor, but because they were envisioned as a space to learn how to become human. In Philippine studies, we problematize the idea of pagpapakatao, of personhood, of what it means to be human. In the local language, we were told, madaling maging tao, mahirap magpakatao. And what makes us humans? Ideas, perspectives, respect, diversity, creativity. Being an ACA fan is part of my pagkatao. Even if we exist only in the spaces that being an academic in a third world country allows us to. Teaching popular culture and being an ACA fan is a nice sentiment to have. And in this age of pandemics, genocide, wars, and a general sense of the lack of dreams among Filipino youth, and this is according to a study by Dream Project Philippines, making students voluntarily sign up to take classes related to popular culture brings us back to what universities are also supposed to be and how we can make learning closer to the daily lives and struggles and experiences of our students. If we are thinking of strategies to engage our students for them to be more present, being an ACA fan might actually be an alternative path. By the way, these are photos of my celebrity studies classes. No, so we did a lot of activities and then a lot of discussion. We even attended the launch of Taylor Swift's album, no? And it was a very it was also a learning experience for my students, observing fandom culture in the Philippines. And in my 5 years teaching in UP, I have never seen all of my students attending classes religiously, despite the heat and the rain, and thanking me and smiling this much after the final requirement. Or maybe they're really just happy for the class to end. I don't know. But based on my experience teaching the class and being with them, being a fan is very much a part of our students' personhood, humanity, and pagkatao. Thank you. I'm going to end my presentation here. I hope you got something out of that. And yeah, thank you for listening.
Okay. Thank you. Actually, I'm still reeling from Ma'am B's discussion. So I can't even think of any adjectives to say after that talk. It's making me tear up actually to listen to those realities and nuances. So of course, as you have heard, you can already sense so many layers from Ma'am B's intro itself in terms of being an ACA fan, and it becomes so much complex when backed up with concepts of third space and third world, context which we really can't veer away from when it comes to fandom cultures and ACAFAN scholarship. And I wanted also to highlight how vitriol and polemic also figure
Yes.
in these discussions. I can point so much but that would take so much time from from all of us and would lead me to hovering. So, but before that, I wanted to take this time first to again thank Dr. Brillion for such a nuanced discussion and also offering us a layered discourse on this subject matter. And I wanted to say sorry because we are still awaiting Dr. Jenkins' arrival, and I think he would not be able to due to some unforeseen circumstances. Murphy's Law, it's Friday the 13th. We actually have some, foregrounding with it. But because of that, I thought of it. I wanted to say sorry, but doing so would in many ways be a reflection of what Ma'am B discussed in terms of third space and third world. So I won't. I won't say sorry. So Ma'am B brought about so much layers and areas to talk about. It's making me tear up again. And this is what we need, honestly. So however, we acknowledge that a lot of people registered to listen to Dr. Jenkins, of course. So for that, we from PACMRI want to provide an assurance that we are doing our very best so that we can have a workaround, the best workaround that will be worth your time and efforts again. So again, we value your presence here, and we want to instead continue such a fruitful dialogue brought about by Dr. Brillion, our very own ACAFAN. So in this slide,
Nakaka-pressure to.
no pressure needed, ma'am. You have established it very perfectly. So in this slide, we will move forward to the open forum. Again, I would like to remind everyone that you can send in your questions over our Zoom chat box and our FB Live comment thread. And for the Zoom participants, you can also use the raise your hand function so we can address you accordingly. So with that, let the questions come and keep on posting all the questions. We'll be watching all the chat box and also the comment threads for any questions, any comments with regard to such a fruitful discussion today. So hold on, let me just look into the chat box too.
Dami palang armies dito.
Yes,
Malamang,
including us.
malamang yun po yung tanong nyo sa akin siguro. Bakit si Taylor Swift? Ganyan din naman yung BTS. So sana sinagot ko na po kayo.
That is true. Okay, so I'm seeing in my screen, the first person who raised their hand is Aliana Ablan. So you can turn on your camera and introduce yourself quickly and provide us with your question.
Hi. Sorry, I wait. Hi, good afternoon. Could you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, good afternoon. I am Yana from National University Laguna. I'm a instructor of communications, and I'll just like to ask regarding the topic of teaching pop culture as an Akafano. I'd like to ask, how do you handle trying to teach pop culture, knowing that there are still some students who try to segregate themselves, is that the right term, try to avoid different perspective, yun na lang, no, ibang
Tama.
perspective from the as an ACA fan, iba yung perspective nyo. So how do you translate your messages into the students who has different perspective from what you have and what you try to teach them? Thank you.
Maraming salamat sa tanong, Aliana. Well, siguro ang gagawin ko na lang muna example ay yung celebrity studies class. Contrary to popular belief, not all of the students who enrolled in that class was a Swiftie. A lot of those were just in it for the cloud, sabi nila. A lot of them were really just regular, just students who are not Taylor Swift fans, who are there mainly because they were intrigued, why there was a course like that, what would be the things that will be discussed in the celebrity studies course. No? And so the idea is that, at least based on that experience, the approach is that it was it, I try to integrate basically the teaching of Taylor Swift in a more local context. And what do we mean by that? the the class talked about how celebrities are manufactured. But again, because this is a celebrity studies class now, so which means we look at how they are created, how they are marketed. So it applies to Taylor Swift, but then it also applies to maybe other celebrities. So that's a way for them to get into the discussion. A number of those, actually, so many K-pop fans in that class too, no? And then we also talked about how it relates to them in terms of their identity politics. And what do I mean by that? Gender, race, um, class. So it being an AKA fan means also embracing, no? And actually, even before the class start, one of the things that I said to the class was that the class, and that's the reason why we had the social media sensing activity. I told them that the class is hopefully going to teach every one of us here, including me, to hold multiple perspectives, because that's really what we don't have right now. Um, and that's really something that's also best encapsulated by Taylor Swift, because a lot of my students were very much conflicted about them liking Taylor as a celebrity and then Taylor's silence on the Palestinian conflict. We discussed that in class. I am a Swiftie, but I am also very much aware of what are these conversations, and why is it very important to talk about. So being an AKA fan, actually, more than anything, makes you more open to perspectives, makes you open to ideas. Um, Notwithstanding that there are fan wars. Okay? So iba po yung talaga na may fan wars, no? But in the area of teaching it, it's very important, and I think that's really where we should all start now, that a class is supposed to be a safe space where everyone can hold differing opinions, but that at the end of the day, you all learn something about each other's opinions, and hold spaces for these different opinions to um, hold spaces in in yourself, no, that these differing opinions do exist, and sometimes they agree on things, no, especially when they're the ones talking about it. So I mean, I don't know, I said a lot of things. I hope I answered your question. Ma'am Aliana.
Ma'am Aliana, did
Yes po, thank you.
Ma'am
And
okay.
siguro ano no, I just like to add that sometimes kasi we also learn from our students, 'di ba? And I think yun po
Yes,
yung point ni Ma'am Sir, no. We learn from our students, and also just at the same time they are also learning from the different perspective of their
of the
classmates. So yun lang
class.
po. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Oh, so before we proceed with the other questions, I would like to just announce some order in terms of the questions. So I will acknowledge Covin de la Cuesta's question
Okay.
first, and then I will proceed to reading some questions from the Q&A box. And then I will proceed after the first question here to the chat box questions. And then if we have more questions from the FB page, we'll also entertain that so we can create a more organized and structured Q&A for this session. So again, I would like to acknowledge Covin de la Cuesta. Please provide a quick intro and then your question.
Hello po. Am I audible?
Yes.
Ayan, pakita na lang din po ako. Ayan, hindi naman halata kung anong fandom ako.
Yeah.
Ayan. Hello po. I'm Copin de la
Sorry,
Cuesta.
Coffee, ikaw ba yung nag-email sa akin?
Yes po.
Okay, sige. Okay,
Ayun po,
sorry.
to introduce myself po, I am Copin de la Cuesta. I'm a senior speech major from UP Cal, and I actually attended this because I'm literally looking for more information, because I'm currently working on my undergraduate thesis about Filipinizing Taylor Swift among Filipino Swifties. And ang dilemma ko ron is if I will angle it sa pag-Filipinize kay Taylor Swift as a form of resistance. Kaya lang, since nakikita po natin yung kay Taylor Shish, we have Taylor Shish,
Yeah,
mukha ni Heso
okay.
Cristo, pero mukha ni Taylor
Yes.
Swift.
Yeah.
We also have Taylor Swift na nakasablay and
Oh.
other artifacts. So, ang tinatry kong i-prove doon is that doon kasi sa thesis ni Tolentino from Mascom din po is si Taylor Swift daw is hindi raw po nagmamatter kung gaano pa ka-foreign ng isang artist sa isang fan to influence one's
Exactly.
self-identity and self-esteem. However, ang naisip ko naman pong gap doon is what if hindi naman po talaga foreign sa atin si Taylor Swift? What if for Filipino Swifties, Taylor Swift is also a Filipino we can all relate to? So with that, do you think marami po tayong mahanap na artifact for a certain resistance, like for example po, for a feminist resistance by Filipinizing Taylor Swift, queer resistance by Filipinizing Taylor Swift, and also other than that from the 2022 elections?
Um, Actually, very interesting, you know. A lot of these artifacts are in the form of memes. Um, so you might actually want to look into that. The Swiftie fandom that I was talking about earlier, who are really big fans of well, they are Swifties, but they also help out in the elections. Well, I did a presentation on them, no, and makikita mo na what they did is they used the iconography of Taylor Swift. Iconography being both the how Taylor Swift presents herself in terms of her color, her uh, superstition, her eras, and then the lyrics of her music, no, this and how the Swiftie fandom in the Philippines appropriated those, no, to campaign for Lenny or to criticize BBM. Sorry, nag-name drop na po ako. But like, and I love this because I saw a meme where it's the lyrics of Taylor Swift's "Only the Young," and it goes like the big bad man and his big bad hands, their hands are stained with red. And you know what? The way that they wrote it is that the big bad man, when you look at the first letters of that says BBM, di ba? And their hands are stained with red. And they released that during the declaration of the martial law. And I love that. I love that kind of appropriation by fans, no. And maybe you are right that if you are a fan, it, it doesn't matter whether, 'di ba, may kung may National Geographical yan, unless siguro language barrier gets in the way, 'di ba? Then there's also another meme that I love. Nakalagay doon, tortured poets. These are the real tortured poets department. Alam mo kung sinong mga nakalagay doon? Sila Lian Alejandro, yung mga namatay na martyr nung panahon na ng martial law. All of these things, because of what they're doing, it doesn't feel foreign to you anymore because they're actually basically appropriating iconographies, lyrics, and everything else to talk about Taylor Swift. Well, not at least, but to also talk about politics. Sorry, baka may pwede akong ipakita para lang may, sana nandito pa siya. If I have time. Sorry. Sige, hanapin ko. Ba't may papakita ko siguro. Kung ano tong mga ibang bagay pa na ito. But I do hope that that answers your question.
Thank you so much po.
All right, thank you, Kevin. So we'll go to the questions in the Q&A box. So the first one is, do you have any feedback from students who took this course, the elective, I think this is referring to that, and about its relevance and effectivity?
Well, they really don't. I mean, they really approach me and tell me, that especially a lot of them initially they did not expect that we would go talking about celebrities and politics. And I think that's very important. And the students really felt that this is the reason why maybe the Philippines do have a political, our representation is really made up of celebrities. And then they would also suddenly realize, because we did the whole session on the idea of power that resides in celebrities. And then I posed the same question to them. What do you think? I mean, despite all of these big celebrities why did Lenny and Kiko lost? So like they were having conversations about that. Our class did not end ng may isang sagot. But generally, they had an idea of what are the limits and the possibilities of a celebrity. And then, as part of that discussion, we talked about now as a fan, what do you do? And I think that's really where they found value in the course, no? That while we've talked about celebrities on a macro level, they also saw something powerful within themselves, no? They saw themselves as agents that can maybe do something, no? And I think, and I also told them, and I think one of my co-authors are here on that, no, si Gerard. We've also talked about basically how fandom can actually now help disinformation or can be used as a tool against disinformation. So all of these things, no, we've talked about possibilities and everything. Um, for them, I think what's more important for them are the things that they learn, that they question, and that they started thinking about, rather than, again, like what I've said earlier, yung value ng hinahanap natin na skills sa kanila. Although, when we had a discussion on why Taylor Swift was popular, and we were talking about the marketing strategies of Taylor Swift, and these are mostly communication and media students kasi they were like very happy. Oh, so that's what she did. Oh, this is what sustained her brand for quite a while. And for media study students, that's very important. There are also economic students, and we talked about how, for example, Taylor drove up economies or reinvigorated economies to the places that she went to. And so it was also a very, very interesting discussion. And it was the first time they realized that media products really do contribute to the overall economics of a country and a place. Because unless you took up political economy of the media, you will not realize that. You just think that celebrities are celebrities, they're there for the ideologies of it. But to be honest, gawin ko na example yung BTS, no? Hindi, sige, kay Hallyu Wave. Hallyu Wave basically drove everything pagdating sa usapin natin ng Korean economy, no? I mean, they already have products and all of these other technological innovations, no? But like really tourism went up, interest in their food went up. All of this contributed to the idea of the economy because of the idea of celebrity. So that's really some of the most parang in a way practical learnings of the class, and these are the things that the students actually appreciate.
Okay, thank you po for that. I'll just package these questions in one because I think these are all referring to the self in terms of doing studies. So the first question kasi is how do you deal with fellow academics who question your biases? And then the next one is are my fandom experiences okay and acceptable as a method of study in terms of like an autoethnographic writing? Yun po. So deeming the self as an ACA fan acceptable. That's basically the questions po here.
The first question is interesting about bias because I think regardless of what discipline you are, there is an inherent bias in the field that you belong to. So if you belong to political science, then the lens of looking or the way that you look at things is is in a way influenced now by the things that you learn from your discipline. And that's why it's also good to be interdisciplinary. But then, even if you're interdisciplinary, even if you're doing interdisciplinary research, there is a core that you always go back to. And I think it's okay. And I think that's important. And that's the reason why I had to define who I am as an ACA fan first before before anything else. Because ito yung tayo ko, ito yung positionality ko, and I think it's important for an ACA fan to do that. Otherwise, malulunod ka, or otherwise you are a fan but not an ACA fan in the sense that we're defining it, no? And having that integrated into who we are as an academic. The second question is about if we're talking about autoethnography and you're an ACA fan, yes, that's really also possible to approach something on that. Dr. Henry Jenkins did a lot of that in the early part of his writing career as an ACA fan. So, although mas nagsasama pa rin siya, no? Pero generally, ang kanyang pinagmula ng mga pagsusulat, lalo na when you check his blog, ay may kinalaman talaga sa kanya at sa kanyang mga experiences at kwento bilang ACA fan. So yes, it's valid. It's a valid way to approach studying fandom. Pero syempre, huwag mo kakalimutan yung conceptual anchors and theoretical anchors mo, because that's really what's I think it's going to guide us.
Okay po. And if I may add to that, I think yung ethics of all of it, kasi
Yes.
lalo na you're involving a lot
Good.
of fans, and it's something po that is very prevalent in terms of studies, lalo
Definitely.
na sa studies of ARMY and BTS, kasi
That's
there is like the hatred between real true hardcore fans and then the
Yes.
ACA fans,
Yeah.
making the true fans guinea pigs in their studies.
Yeah.
So parang in
Totoo.
terms of addressing that, we have to like set some boundaries for ethics in terms of the study. So the last question in the Q&A box is actually po about something that you've already addressed in your talk about like speaking about political matters and political concerns. So the specific question is, what is your opinion on Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala Harris? But she doesn't speak about Palestine. So yun po yung question.
Alam niyo po, malaki na si Taylor.
Perfect.
Whatever she does it with a consideration of who she is as a person, as a brand. Ayun. I also get this question from my students, especially about the Palestine thing. And sabi ko, personally, I would love for her to speak up. I mean, I really do. And then we go into a discussion of celebrities as we call celebrities powerless elites. No, they do have power, but this power is very outward. It's still good if they use them. I mean, really, really good if they use them. But the thing with powers we assign with celebrities is if the status quo suddenly realize that they're getting too powerful, the status quo, and what do I mean by the status quo if I'm going to say that in very practical terms? Patriarchal, capitalist institutions, once a celebrity tries to go beyond that, what the status quo allows them to be, they will start to dismantle you as a celebrity. That's really the nature of what is known as the powerless elite, no? So yes, you have power, and yes, better use it for good if you have it. But when you get too powerful, then yon. And then I would always tell my students, demand for celebrities to speak up, but more importantly, and don't forget that when we talk about power in politics, it's still the people we elected who actually has the capacity to change things. So that's also very, very important to remember when we talk about celebrities and their power and their silence. So I am as frustrated if ayun. Pero minsan pinag-usapan din namin, like not all celebrities carry all of the advocacies. sometimes they are specific to certain advocacies, especially if they don't find themselves knowledgeable enough to think about specific issues. Yun. Kasi I have that kind of experience dito sa local. May mga local celebrities tayo who can only speak up on certain issues because they know it, but then would be silent on other issues because they have to learn more about it.
Okay po. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for that answer po, Dr. Brillion. So this last question, I think, because I've also checked on Facebook and so far there's no comment or question. So I think this would tie up perfectly the notes and the questions. And I think nag-comment na po si Ma'am B sa question na ito sa chat box natin. So I would just like to read it aloud. So I would like to hear your thoughts on developing and expanding third spaces. So as you mentioned, going off the beaten path is hard, and you get a lot of criticism from everyone else's conception and misconceptions. So how would you say ACA fans can help out other ACA fans?
I think number one, we have to offer more subjects. The ACA fans in the academy has to, our numbers have to increase. It has to increase because that's really the time when there would be a critical, well, I mean, appropriating the term na lang na critical mass, parang ganon. Then it means we're starting to the small space that we have would get a bit bigger. But if the offering, for example, of and I hope that it really is, I mean, wala naman akong problema kung ang mag-offer ng pop culture class ay mga academics who don't consider themselves as ACA fans. Okay naman yon. But I think maganda rin na yung idea ng ACA fan na nagtuturo ay it brings a different kind of energy and passion uh, to the way that you teach and the way that you write. A lot of the people kasi are very critical about fans and fandom. I think kung may mga estudyante ako dito, ang lagi ko, alam nila to, sabi ko, ang pinaka na iirita akong pinapakinggan ngayon ay yung parasocial. Kasi, ang parasocial ay 1950s term na fit sa term, sa panahon na pinanggalingan niya. Precisely because it was a very different time. So, nung klase ko, we talk about notions of multisociality. Ano yung multisociality? Ibang-iba ang engagement ngayon ng celebrity sa kanilang fans. It's not the same engagement that traditional fans and celebrities have. So, ibang-iba na. But unfortunately, the way that we still look at fans and the way that some other academics still teach fandom is through the lens of parasociality. And I'm just so sad. And yon. So parang para sa akin, one way is to really have more people teaching courses or subjects, teaching subjects on popular culture. And hopefully this is being taught by, again, you don't have to be an ACA fan, but it would be nice if you are. And then, ang tanong ay paano pa mag-expand itong third spaces na ito, no? I think when ACA fan teaches and they teach fans on how to maybe transform what they learned into an engagement that goes beyond their fandom, that in itself can mean something else entirely, no? Kaya nakakatuwa, yung mga local fandom sa Pilipinas, ginagawa naman na nila ito talaga. But like citizenship citizenship issues, for example, people helping out. Pansinin niyo ngayon, ang pinaka-active na volunteers are those coming, at pinaka-active na donors are those coming from fandoms. So kapag ka nagkaroon ng crisis, for example, at ang paborito ng artista ay nag-post ng call for donations, saan tayo nagdo-donate? Doon sa pinost ng artista. Pero pag gobyerno ang gumawa niya, dead ma, dead ma, di ba? So can you just imagine, no, if we're able to, I mean, education-wise, we're able to problematize and talk about and maybe transcend fandom practices and experiences into something else, then lalaki yung espasyo, no? Pero siguro, yun nga, sana dumami muna rin tayo within the academe. At kasi pag dumami tayo, medyo hindi na nila tayo masyadong mahuhuyo. Yun. Kasi ang daming huyo sa akin. At ang daming huyo siguro sa lahat pa ng ibang nag-a-attempt na magturo ng pop culture, no? So, yun. At yun, eventually the respect and the recognition would come in and would follow.
Thank you so much for those thoughts po, Ma'am B. And I think if I may add, marami kasi sa atin pa rin na would do away with the I am the researcher, you are the
That's
subject.
the subject.
And without even thinking of the fact that, like, if we borrow the thoughts from queering or feminist research, that there is always an I, even if you say
Yes.
that you have no biases, all your biases will still reflect in your research. So I think if we have that kind of like shift in the paradigm of thinking about studies and fandom cultures, there would be really a great paradigm shift also in the standardization of how we go about things in terms of studies, research methodologies. So those are my reflections from that. So I think we can entertain one more question before we formally close the session. So from Patrick John Espiritu, please provide a quick intro and your question.
All right. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. Well, actually, that's the first question from Q&A is my question. No, just to give context. Because the speaker mentioned that, of course, I'm teaching Philippine popular culture in a university here in the province, and I'm curious that the reason why I asked the relevance and effectivity of the course, is there any parameters or um anything that you are doing after the term or after the semester that you can quantify? Like for example, nami-meet ba nung mga activities na embedded here in the course yung course learning outcomes and then yung graduate attributes ng mga estudyante natin. So because I saw this controversy nung bago nyo palang i-offer. So maybe it would be, well, this is unsolicited advice for me siguro, no? Or I am interested to know, no? Para we can answer yung controversy, yung mga pinakita kanina na it's a waste of money, it's a waste of something. I'm interested to know how this specific course, contributed to the attributes of our graduates, and yung mga course learning outcomes ba ay nami-meet through after the semester. I know this is from the outside perspective. I know that uh, it's student choice, no, if they will enroll to this subject, if they find it very essential to their programs. No, what if doon sa mga hindi naman talaga related doon sa course, still it will help to enhance their skills after their graduation. Yun lang po, I'm just curious so we can actually answer na this is not a waste of money, because I really believe, no, the pop culture or teaching pop culture or taking pop culture is really necessary in the curriculum of whatever programs that we have. Thank you.
What gets privileged when we talk about, let's say, course outcomes and everything else, and um, especially no yung attributes ng graduate, what always gets emphasized and privilege are the hard skills. No, the skills where you, for example, in our field, you know how to edit, you know how to direct, you know, yung mga ganon, yung you know how to hold the camera, ayan. These are what also gets emphasized in and privilege, no, more than anything. What doesn't get emphasized are the soft skills, no. And I don't like calling them soft skills, no, but the skills that are not readily tangible and apparent, but that you need in order to have the technical skills. Okay, what do I mean by that? Bigay ko na lang, meron isang study na lumabas na in the near future, it is not it's not coders, people who know how to code, who will be um, who will be needed, no, or will be employed by tech companies. These are people coming from humanities and liberal arts. This is a forward-looking trend, no, towards where the education should go, and where especially the tech industry will go, no. And do you know why? It's because if you are a coder and you know how to code, but you are not well versed in the ideas of creativity, humanities, liberal arts, that skill will do nothing for you. Okay? Marunong ka lang nung skill, pero wala ka nung ilalaman sa skill na yon, no? So that's really what that study was talking about. And in this case, at least no, for well, this is I think where the idea of UP as a critical space and where critical students are harnessed comes in handy, in a sense that being critical is an attribute of a certain institution. And as for example, UP. Hindi ko sinasabing UP lang yan, okay? Like I've been to other schools na ganun din naman. So hindi naman siya UP lang. Pero yung pagiging critical, hindi yan nakukuha sa course outcomes na may kinalaman sa mas technical skills, but rather in conversations, in presenting multiple perspectives. It comes from a theory and a criticism-based class, rather than just, for example, in our field or in our or in our case, a production class, no? Kasi ang ilalaman mo sa production class, ang mga ikukwento mo, mga storya, galing siya sa mga bagay na supposedly inilaman sa'yo ng ibang mga kurso na maaaring hindi externally ang naipapalabas, no? But I think the idea of, for example, thinking critically, that can be part of a course outcome. Being able to, for example, develop literacies, reading literacies. That's very much needed, especially today, where, and it will be very, very much needed, no? Especially ngayon, yung mga tao, hindi kayo mag-distinguish kung ano ang deepfake, lalo na sa panahon ng deepfake. Ang magtuturo sa iyo niyan are classes that deals with theory, with criticism, with that. Hindi ito ituturo sa iyo ng yung mga ganong klase. So, it's a long-winded explanation, but the idea is that there are ways by which you can package both skills, the tangible and the intangible, and make them co-equal, no? Kasi alam ko yan nga eh. Kaya yan yung crinitic ko doon sa last part ng aking presentation na innovation comes from creativity. Creativity comes from classes that allows students to ask questions, that allows them to, it does not come from technical skills. It comes from these other classes. No? So, yeah. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So we can actually say na parang we can answer yung yung mga comments, no, yung mga negative comments toward
Yeah.
this course na, yes, this is effective and this is, it's not targeting the skills, technical skills, but rather the soft skills that, of course, no, very essential or essential to all or to whatever future professions of our students. Thank you, Bo. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that amazing question and also for the amazing answer, Mambi. So, do we still have time to entertain some question and comments?
Yeah, I think we can, Alison. Pwede pa.
Okay. All right. So, I just have one question here from the Q&A chat box. So, is it essential to always include critical studies in fandom studies, or can one focus and look at it in a more idealist aspect only without including the political economy aspect? Ooh. Okay.
Pwede naman actually. Pwede naman talaga. Kasi marami namang approaches sa pagiging ACA fan din. There are ACA fans, for example, si Dr. Jenkins. Sorry, tatrash talk kita, sir. Charot. Hindi ka kasi dumating. Dumating. Grabe, kinabahan ako for today. Napasolo billing ako ng wala sa oras. Like for example, Dr. Jenkins, he's not very much concerned about yung pagiging ACA fan ni Dr. Jenkins, mas nandun talaga siya sa mas literary analysis and then more on the meaning making ng fans, no? Initially, sa early part ng kanyang scholarship, wala dun yung bigger structures, no? At wala dun yung usapin ng nation, lalo na wala yung colonization at all, no? Kasi hindi niya yon context, no? Yung sa akin, kaya ako, for example, very much concerned about, like for example, the bigger structures before I go into the more individual fan conversations or approaches to meaning making sa fans, no? Ay dahil polyecon ang aking parang isa sa mga core. So, posible. So, maraming approach din sa pagiging ACA fan. Marami ring approach sa pagtuturo. It would be nice if madadaanan siya for the rest of the semester, but if not, okay lang din naman, walang concern. So, hindi initially ang pagtingin din ni Dr. Jenkins, for example, sa interpretation, I very much, lalo na sa usapin ng gender, ay nandoon sa idea lamang ng fantasy projections rather than, for example, yung identity talaga ng mga fans as queer people, no? And that's something that I am interested in, no? Mas ganon yung sa akin. So, depende siya, I guess, sa pinaghuhugutan or pinanggagaling. So, yun. But everything is valid, can be considered a valid approach to being an ACA fan and teaching pop culture.
Okay, so thank you again, Mambi. And I think we have some interesting discussions over at the chat box, and we would gladly continue that. So, but maybe in another space. So, all right. Thank you again for all those meaty questions, and of course, our utmost appreciation to our speaker, who gave their time and effort to provide detailed and relevant answers. So I'm sure we all learned so much from everything. So for all the questions which are still in the process of creation, please feel free to send them to our official Facebook page or join our Facebook group. So let's start a collaborative and knowledge sharing space. So again, we in PACMRI will try our best to create another opportunity to invite Dr. Jenkins, so we know how interesting and thought-filled this research area is among our community of students, grad students and undergrad alike, and also, of course, the scholars and our faculty for pedagogy. So before we formally come to a close, we would like to take this time to properly show our gratitude to our esteemed speaker today through presenting the Certificate of Appreciation. So the certificate reads, the Philippine Association for Communication and Media Research Incorporated awards this certificate of appreciation to Cherish Eileen Brillion, PhD, in recognition of their valuable time and expertise as resource speaker for the masterclass on fandom cultures and ACAFAN scholarship. This live event is held online and is part of the PACMRI 2024 Masterclass Series, given this 13th day of September 2024, signed by our president, Professor Maria Rosel S. San Pascual, and the Director for Research, Assistant Professor Noel Sajid Murad.
Salamat po. Sana po may napulot pa rin kayo kahit lahat tayo ang pinunta natin ay si Dr. Jenkins. Kahit po ako. Si Dr. Jenkins din po pinunta ko. Sana po
Well,
may napulot kayo. Salamat sa invitation.
well, I'm sure, Ma'am B, everyone has learned so much from your talk. And if we're going to base it with the questions and also with all the interactions in the chat box, it's very, very insightful and fruitful. And we're very, very happy to have you here today. So again, our sincerest gratitude to you. So to formally close this masterclass session, I would like to give the Zoom floor to our dedicated Director for Research, Assistant Professor Noel Sajid Murad.
Thank you very much, Allison. It has been such a privilege to hear from Dr. Iris Brillion. If you weren't already fans of Doc B from before, we most certainly are now. Sana hindi po makahon si Doc B, no, as the professor who taught a course on Taylor Swift. Marami po ang kaniyang research interests, and I hope and I implore everyone to read up on her other scholarly works so that you can also be inspired to do work on fandoms and popular culture. So maraming salamat po ulit, Doc B. I understand how busy you are. But the pleasure has been ours, and we're absolutely delighted to have you today as our masterclass speaker. Having listened to Doc B, I hope we have all been emboldened to do popular culture studies on fans, on fandoms and their idol groups, and to locate the centrality of their pagkatao in the forms of resistance that challenge the status quo and underpin people who have a collective identity coming together to find their voices, to actively share their stories with one another, and to purposefully use their agencies to develop positive values in society, such as empowerment, civic action, and capacity building. So let's go out there. Let's consume more popular culture. Let's get fascinated by more idol groups. And let's also get frustrated on the several important issues in society as fans. Sana maging mas critical po tayo, and let's do scholarly research as ACA fans. And sana po we all get to come together here at PACMRI to collaborate on those research projects that you might have in mind. So the possibilities are really endless. So once again, we'd like to give you the assurance that the PACMRI Board of Trustees is chatting backstage on how we can create another opportunity to invite Dr. Jenkins ASAP, diba? Mga new genes dyan. Syempre, we know this, a lot of people really came here to see, the flow of exchange and ideas from global north to global south, and what is the emic and the ethic perspectives, as ACA fans in the scholarship of popular culture. And hopefully, we will update you soon on wherever that platform will take place, with Dr. Henry Jenkins. So maraming salamat to everyone. We had a record of around 200 attendees here on our Zoom session, and around, I think, 20 or more, in the Facebook Live session. Hope to see you in the next masterclass session, which will be all about the culture-centered approach in media and communication studies. So maraming salamat. Thank you. Friday the 13th, we were able to survive it somehow. Back to you, Allison.
All right. Thank you so much, Noel. So I'd like to ask all the Zoom participants to please stay in the meeting room for a quick photo op. So you may turn on your camera. If shy type, it's okay. We'll just get your profile photos included. But of course, feel free to just, be yourself in the camera, and we'll capture that. All right. So who will take the photo?
I can take the photos.
Okay.
So Panel
Alright.
1. Oh, Gerard, smile na. 1, 2, 3. Okay, panel 2. Everyone, smile. 1, 2. Panel 3. 1, 2. Panel 4. 1, 2. And finally, panel 5. 1, 2. Ayan. Thank you so much.
Perfect. All right. Yay, yay.
Salamat po.
All right. So thank you all for participating. Of course, thank you to the PACMRI for organizing and hosting events that are truly relevant as we all tread the path to learning and pedagogy together. So this has been Alison Atis. Take care. Stay safe. Annyeonghaseyo live from South Korea. Have a good one.
Hanapin mo si Dr. Jenkins dyan. Nasa South Korea din siya.
I will try. I will try.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Ingat po.
everyone.
Doc Dazi, hello.
Hi,
Hello
Doc
sa
Dazi.
mga sila Dasi, hello.
Doc
Sila
Randy,
Jay nandyan.
hello.
Hi, hello po.
Salamat, everyone. See you next month.